Wait for it. Wait. There we go. That was so not worth it.
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Greetings and salutations and happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to the Hard Rock Lunchbox, right? Hard Rock Lunchbox. That should be whatever. I already ruined it. Let's just get out of here. See you all next week, everybody. All right, yeah. It is indeed St. Patrick's Day. Don't you worry. For 1 solid minute, I've got a lot of garbage. I mean, Irish music for you today that we'll be playing. I actually grabbed a whole bunch of Irish music, and it was actually kind of funny because I started running out of good Irish bands really fast, like very more fast than I thought I was going to. So I ended up grabbing some non-Irish bands with Irish members, and that's how we're going to handle the rest of today. But don't worry, a few whiskeys in, they're all Irish. Am I right? All right, yeah. I am, I don't know, like a 16th or a 32nd Irish. I do know that when I was growing up, and oh, cool, I'm having more computer problems. Well, no, it's telling me I am still not optimized, and I could tell you, no shit. I have to fix that. I just realized just now, seeing it, that I have blown that off for the entire week. I haven't bothered to fix that situation, so. It's fun when I'm doing stuff that nobody else can see, except for a week. A week from now, speaking of which, on the top 20, the top 20 this week is actually a pretty good one. And I don't say that lightly. Anybody that knows the show and knows me knows that I will just as easily tell you that it's not a good one when it isn't. But this is the one where we're talking about like kind of manners and the sort of discourse that people are severely lacking in these days, especially angry people and the angrier people that tend to exist on, let's say, to my right. It's not really a political thing. I mean, there's angry people on my left and my right, and I do find the people that are angry on the left tend to be a little bit more annoying about things. And I've been saying that for a really long time. Like, I do try not to be, like, super, like, excuse me, let me just try and fix. There is no fixing. I'm sorry. People on the left tend to be more annoying because they come off as like more of a whine, and I don't like that. And then people on the right tend to be they come off as less annoying but more moronic and stupid because they are. And that's not my fault. Again, we've talked about this. This has to do with genetics and education and all that other stuff. And I have no kids to the right of me, so I have won the kid battle. But yeah, the top 20. It's a good one. Put your comments up there. I will get to them this week, like always. I always do my absolute best to try and get to respond and interact and comment. It's actually easier for me to do it there than it is on other forms of social media because I'm just not on other forms of social media as much. And then, when I am, it's always it's less of a lightning rod than it used to be because I used to get a whole bunch of dog pile on the rabbit whenever I would say anything, but now it's a lot quieter. And I don't know if it's because people have just filter bubbled off or, it's because of the amount of times I've been in Facebook jail. Like, I don't really know the answer. And honestly, I don't really care anymore. I had a good long run and that was kind of that. So yay me. But yeah, we can get to some light housekeeping. Blah, blah, blah. I was talking a little bit about Freud. Freud had a lot to do with it. Not specifically, more he had a lot to do with identifying it. And basically, yeah, the whole top 20, we need people to stop being dicks to other people that are just getting by. We should be doing to them what the entire world is doing to Putin right now, and I think that's funny. I did put up something the other day that I thought was funny because it made me laugh. The Russians have finally released some sanctions against individuals. If you're not following, like, we sanctioned not only the oligarchs in Russia, but we sanctioned like Putin himself. And sanctions, they sound like they don't matter and they're not a big deal. But they're kind of a big deal because these sanctions, these economic sanctions, what they do... Now, this is not a problem for you and me, but pretend for a second that... Here, come here. So pretend for a second that you and me and everybody listening, not other people, just us, so we're going to do this really quietly. Pretend that we had millions and millions of dollars or rubles or whatever else in banks all around the world. Just pretend. Like, I know the average here is probably about $23.52 in your savings account. That's with a decimal, $23.52 in one American bank. But just imagine you had millions of dollars in like all these other banks around the world. Well, if you're a Russian in Russia, well, and all your money's in Russia, you're all set. But if your money is, say, I don't know, in a Wall Street backed or looking American bank or a British bank or a French bank or an Italian bank, they just seized all that money. Like, remember when you used to have millions of dollars in all those offshore accounts? Well, nope. And you might be thinking, like, why are Russians so dumb they're not keeping it in, like, the Seychelles and stuff like that? They are. They have their money there, too. But that money doesn't make money. That money gets hidden. If you're trying to make money, remember, like, I'm always saying, like, money just makes money, right? So if you have money, even if you had the lowest interest-bearing savings account in America, say it was, like, 0.5%, on $1 million, that's a lot of money, and that's more than some people actually make in a year, so it makes sense to do that. But mainly it's a security thing. Like, basically, if you ever have to leave Russia in the middle of the night, you can go to America where your money, you have millions of dollars in the bank. Anyway, so with those economic sanctions, we just seized all that. So they don't have that money anymore. I mean, we didn't take it. That would be like a Swiss move, like when everybody stored their Jewish artwork there, and the Swiss were like, we don't even know, like... do you have a receipt? Like, all that bullshit that they pulled in World War II. It's not like that. Like, this is just frozen. They can't access it with the promise that they will be able to access it once sanctions are lifted. But sanctions aren't going to be lifted anytime soon, it seems. Anyway, so those sanctions are kind of a big deal. So in retaliation, the Russian government levied sanctions against a bunch of prominent American politicians who, by all accounts, do not have money in Russia, so it doesn't matter at all. But on there, obviously, was like President Biden, which is not surprising. His son, Hunter Biden, was also on there. But also on there was Hillary Rodham Clinton for, as far as I can tell, absolutely no good reason. But the most important part of that particular story is Senor Trump was not on there, and I don't know why. I mean, he's so wealthy and so influential and has all this money and projects in Russia. You'd think you want to hit him real hard, unless, of course, he's your best friend that just called you a genius, I don't know. This is me literally speculating, but I do know for a fact that they did not sanction him, and he is the most recent former president, and has a good amount of money, according to himself, and falsified papers that he filed in New York. No big. But also does a lot of deals in Russia, right? He was trying to do that Trump-Moscow thing. Remember, like, while he was running for president, and everyone was like, you can't do that, dude. And he was like, I can do that. It's perfect. My small finger is perfect. Grab that pussy. Like, that kind of shit. Whatever he was doing. I don't remember exactly. That's not a quote. It's a paraphrase. But I kid the Trumper. But he was not sanctioned, so I thought that was funny. And I put that up, and people were like, well, I don't, what difference does it make? Like, he's not in charge anymore. I'm like, first of all, he's a very likely political candidate for 2024. He's our last sitting president, and he seems like he's still involved in a lot of politics. Just kind of ask anybody in politics. So I thought it was kind of a big deal and noteworthy that he wasn't on there. And people were like, it doesn't really matter. Why is he? And I'm like, because Hillary's on there, and Hillary's even further removed from politics than Donald is, so... Anyway, do your homework, stop being stupid. Same usual message here on the box. Also in housekeeping, by the way, I could use a housekeeper. This place is a mess. That needs to be dusted. The boys over in BIMP, the Bacon is My Podcast people, people, the good people over at BIMP. They're doing a full interview with the GFM band. I did not see that. I bailed on so much stuff this week. I'll try and get into why that is in a little bit. I just totally bailed. And they have 7 questions with the band Haunter, which I have to tell you, if I saw Haunter and immediately thought it was the Pokemon, it is not the Pokemon, and I do not know if I'm going to even bother watching it. Because I was hoping that maybe like we could get Ghastly and Gengar on there, but if it's just going to be some band named Haunter, I mean, like that's... I mean, I suppose it's going to be a good interview, but you want to talk about a real get the real Haunter. And that's all I have to really say about that. Upcoming shows, Revel 9 and Pathmaker will be opening for Osmosis. That is the New York State preeminent Ozzy Osbourne tribute band. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Me and James were talking about that Saturday night about how, like, normally we wouldn't do such a thing, but, like, I don't know, once we play a show, have a couple of shots, I might be inclined to sing a little Crazy Train, you know what I mean? Like, it might be a lot of fun, but I'm super stoked to get back on stage with Pathmaker. I like James a lot, and I like his band a lot, too, so I'm excited for that. Like, he's one of those dudes that's, like, always in the back of my mind, like, how can I get him involved in a show that we're doing, whether it's unplugged or whether it's just, you know, full-on electric. But, like, I like him and Maddie a lot, so I'm really psyched to be able to play with them. But that's coming up. That's April 1st. That's in a couple of Fridays. I got super excited yesterday and posted that it was going to be next Friday. That's not right. And I paid the price, correcting 3 Instagram accounts, putting the right date on there. But, hey, I'll be putting up our tickets link sometime today. Our ticket deal is 2 for $25, or it's 1 for $15. That's going to be our cost from Club Loaded. It's just the way it is. I mean, it's not quite pay to play, but it, you know, really sort of might as well be. But that's the deal we signed up for, and I'm fine with it. I'm happy to be playing. I'm happy to be playing sporadically. I will tell you, we have no other shows on the calendar right now, and I'm not saying that we aren't adding them, but I'm also not necessarily looking to add them. We've got a couple of options. Several of them are away options, and we've got people working on our behalf to bring us into their fair cities and their little towns, and we're definitely down for that. I have meant to reach out to Spags and Indian for ages to see if they're going to start back up the Jersey Shore Fest. I have not seen anything about that, and that is super unfortunate because that was one of my favorite things of the year, which means that now I've lost Six Flags, and I've probably lost Jersey Shore Fest, which will blow. But I will talk to DVT about the Liberty Music Festival because that's the other one I really enjoy doing, and that's, of course, in Philly, but I will keep you posted as always. Other side note, I used to be in a band called G. Davy before I was in Revel 9, and G. Davy's record, the last full record from G. Davy's, is an album called Sparkle. That is 16 years old this week, and holy shit, that feels terrible. Might grab some of that a little bit later on. And now on to the top 20, I think. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Good job. Wait for it. Wait. There we go. That was so not worth it. I'm just going to check. Okay. I need to check sooner into the chat to make sure I'm actually broadcasting. Anybody that remembers the broadcasting fiasco of, 2022, just a couple of weeks ago, would know why that's a problem. So I'm going to talk, sorry for being disgusting, but that's just the show. Although rubbing my face probably isn't the most disgusting thing I could be doing. I could just be looking into the monitor like this. Why? None of this is... Hold on. None of this is working. You know what I really need to do? I just need to take off the screen. Hell, I'm going to do that. I'm just not going to look at myself anymore. Yeah, although that's probably pretty stupid, right? Because then if I can't see... Yeah, because I can't see if it's not recording. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to ignore the elephant in the room, which is, of course, me. So I want to talk about the show Saturday night, but I'll probably do that in the middle of the Hard Rock Lunchbox because there's a lot of great stuff, a lot of band stuff, like for me and how I interact with my own band and being on stage, and a lot of things that I have to give some serious thought to going forward. With the change in the entire landscape because of COVID, because of the way people are treating each other, because of who I am as an artist and who I am as an individual, I definitely have to give some thoughts to the future of live performances for the band. And that is not, that is fitting into the not a lot of shows coming up this year, or not a lot of shows on the calendar this year, in no small way. Like I said, I do have shows planned, or things that we're working on and stuff like that, and I will keep you posted on that. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but it's probably not really appropriate for the top 20 because I don't necessarily know that I want it on a video, so I'm not gonna. And you can't make me. I will say I did not bring it up except in passing on Saturday night from the stage, but an old friend of mine, an old colleague, I guess would be the right way to put it, passed away passed away last week, and I knew about that before Saturday, and I didn't want to make a big announcement about it from the stage on Saturday, because not only does that bring people down, but it also really affects the way that I perform, because I am really good at getting into my head. I mean, my head is big enough, so there's plenty of room for, like, you can have an ottoman in there, or a table, like, it doesn't really matter. You can use it as either. And it's right, like, obviously any loss and any death is always sad, or usually sad. But I think ones that kind of pull you back to a moment in time are not necessarily sadder, but they definitely feel more reflective, right? Like it's a tough thing. If you guys don't know, and I don't know that anybody from the more recent Revel 9 or certainly Hard Rock Lunchbox days would know this individual. His name is Sean. Obenauer. He is the younger brother of Keith Obenauer. Keith and Sean were the dual guitarists for the band, the Hetty Berry, that would eventually become the Vinyl Plane. And that is Dave Schubert's band. Dave is in 10 Ton Mojo now. He's also in Peace Pipe Gypsy, but forever, to me, will be the front man of the Hetty Berry, because that is where I met him, and that is where I spent the most time with him and them. And I know that it's probably not the same anymore just because we're not playing all that much, but, like, people have made reference, and I find this amusing. People have made reference to me about their relationships with other bands, and they've referred to them as their, this band is my Craving Strange, because us and Craving Strange play together so much. I mean, we probably still, I think going forward as we play live, our bands will play together. Because we like to play together. Like, I love that band. I love the members in it. I think a lot of that is reciprocated, and I think we always have fun playing together. It's less about, like the show's... There's a comfort in knowing the show's going to be great, and then you can just go on and just do your best. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like once you know the show is settled, like this is a great show. Like, all you really have to do is show up and do it, and see what else you want to do to make it great. Like, there's so much to that, because then there's just so much fun. Like, getting on the other side of that and, like, actually getting to hang with everybody, like, that's a big thing for me. But, like, people have referred to other bands that they play with a lot, like, oh, they're our Craving Strange, or, that's our Revel 9 or whatever. And when I tell you that when G. Davey had started out and was rolling into Revel 9, we play, like, the Hetty Berry and the Vinyl Plane were our Craving Strange of that time. And we played with them, I would say, 3 to 4 times a month, just locally. And we weren't even traveling all that much. We were traveling lightly towards the end of G. Davey and early Revel 9, but we played with them. We played with them so much, it was weird to not see them at a show. Like, our bands were so tight because we, like, constantly, like, we open, you open, like, you will headline, like, that. I had that relationship with that band. And it's funny, too, because they were as different from us as, like, Craving Strange is different from us. But, like, just musically different enough to, like, expand the show to make it so much bigger than it was. And then, but really still pleasing to, however. Like, yeah, some of the tie-dye hippies that would come see the Hetty Berry, like, They would just sort of hang back when we would play, but we would hit them with a song every now and then that they would like, and they would just come up and dance and stuff like that, but they wouldn't leave. We didn't scare anybody away, so it was kind of a good mix. And there was always a good Hetty Berry or Vinyl Plain song that our fans always liked. There was always at least a couple in there, and then, of course, they would just cover songs that just everybody likes. So it was just kind of fun. But we spent years together, and when I saw Dave at the wake, we were talking about like just how funny it was, like the sheer number of shows that we've played together. And like I even said, like, one bar just shittier than the next. And that was so true. And like we were talking about how like Molly Bloom's 2, and like, excuse me, it was a 2, not just Molly Bloom's, because Molly Bloom's wasn't good enough. It was Molly Bloom's 2, and like all the times we got like electrocuted over at like Bartini because they only had like one plug. Sound Beach Inn, driving for 75 hours to the eastern part of Long Island, and tracks out and run, like just the shittier bar, like after shittier bar that we would play every weekend, and we would have a great time. We're talking about playing the Zebra Club, where if you were the opening band, you had to move the fern that was up there and the filing cabinet. Like this was just, that's how it went. Like, like when you're playing like a real show, it's like, I'll be here at 7:45 for sound check. Like the Zebra Club, it's like, be here around 8 so you can clean the stuff off the stage so you have a place to play. Like it was that. And that's how we cut our teeth on local music, like local bands. It's how we learned to play with other bands. But my point is that we just hung with those guys so much that they were practically family. And Mr. Obenauer, who was Keith and Sean's dad, for whatever reason, was just a huge fan of mine personally, and thought that I was just one of the most wonderful local guitar players he had run into. And even when we were there at the wake, we were talking to him a little bit, and it was heartbreaking for me to just talk to him. Like, I can't even imagine what it's like to like bury your own child. I can't even imagine. But he was like kind of looking. He was like, "She sells smiles." That was some record. And I was like, "You want to hear something fucked up?" I'm like, the little cute kid on that cover, she's about to turn 16. He was like, "Get the fuck out of here." But that's what I mean. Like, I've known those people such a long time. Like, I have a formal relationship with an informal relationship with their dad, because their dad used to come. Like, he was even joking. He's like, "Man, I used to love roadieing for you," and he would help us with amps and guitars and stuff. And like I said, like the Obenauers, like I've known them for forever. I mean, truth be told, like I've known Keith longer, and Keith just has always cracked me up because Keith hates everybody, and I love that about him. And I used to make the joke with him all the time, like, I feel like Keith has handed out 2 compliments to other musicians in his entire life, and I am the proud owner of one of them. that was always something. And Dave was like, "Yeah, probably." But and Sean was just always quieter and just like way more the hippie, and just such a good soul. And like, I have not talked to Sean in 10, 12 years. I haven't even seen him. He sort of dipped out of the music scene. I mean, he was, dealing with his family. He did his own stuff, and he went way more hippie, and it just, as Revel 9 and the Vinyl Plain kind of went that way musically, like, it just didn't make any sense anymore. But I will say it was sad. It was sad to lose that. It was sad to lose that light and that entity. I will tell you, and this happened to me when Matt passed too. It is nice and comforting to remember some of those amazing times. And I'm not grateful for the loss to force me to remember them, but in some small way, I am glad that I still can remember them and have those. And I'm glad that I've lived those moments with those people. It's so important. And it's hard to process forward sometimes, depending on the loss. But to have that loss means that there was something there to lose. And that something is really something that I think we should all focus on a little bit more. I know a lot of people have been touched with loss, especially recently. and I am no expert at this, but I will try and do it too. Just to focus on the reason that we feel that loss. It has to be something palpable, has to be something in here. And that's, I don't know, that's my message today. And I think we could all do a little bit better at that. And I know that I'm going to try. And there is plenty of room in this world for more gratitude. So I will start now by being grateful for all those times I got to spend not only with Sean, but his band. And I'm going to kick off the box today with literally one of my favorite songs to ever leave this floating rock that we live on. It was great then, and I got to tell you, it's great now. It's going all the way back to the Hetty Berry days, some 1.5 million years ago. It's Mushroom Tea on the box. It's awesome.